when it comes to the job boards, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Monster, well, they're bankrupt now. You go through a bunch of these job boards. Uh, Only 3 to 5% of the people, the population, the job market are on these job boards.
You know what's also crazy just to think about is how important recruiting is, but then how much you don't invest in it.
You don't understand. Like, even if you invest $100,000 a year in this, it's a 20 to 1 return. Where else do you get that kind of ROI?
In the past, I had been like, all right, it's not a good fit, but I'll change them, I'll fix them, I'll keep giving them feedback. And it's just like,
It doesn't work.
It just doesn't work. It's like, it's just not worth it.
The number one thing that people never, they never do this. When you onboard, there's 2 things that you need to do.
Welcome back to another episode of the Share Willow podcast. Today, I am super excited to be here with Ryan England of Core Matters. Ryan, thank you so much for being with us.
Ryan, I'm happy to be here.
So I got introduced to you through one of our customers, actually. And he said, hey, Ryan hosts an amazing podcast. He's a consultant to a bunch of contractors in the trades, and you have to talk to him. So, tell us about your business and how you got connected. Who introduced us, by the way? I think it was Rick. Yes. He's a property management company, right? Enhance PM.
Yeah, property maintenance. Handyman group. Yeah, they and bathroom remodels and all sorts of stuff. I've known him for a year and a half now. And he's always talking about how do we get people motivated? Because at Core Matters, that's a big thing for us. Like, I don't think we have as much of a hiring issue in the trades as people would think. Like, oh, there's a labor shortage. I don't think there's a labor shortage. I think that there's a labor crisis, and we've got to be able to attract great people, get them on board quickly, get them to produce and perform well, and then finally keep them. And that's what we do over at Core Matters is we work with contractors who want to solve the labor crisis and never struggle with people problems again.
So I have to push back a little bit. I think I told you I just released an episode today with Lacey Coleman. She's an owner of Coastal Comfort. It's a $9 million revenue HVAC company out of Salisbury, Maryland. She is saying she probably leaves $2 million a year on the table in existing inbound leads because she cannot, she can't find technicians to service the jobs. She's like, there are no unemployed service technicians or HVAC technicians in their area. Look, maybe it's geographic specific, but she's like, we can't find the people. Like, they're not there. They're either at our competitors and you have to poach them, but there's just not the people there. Curious what you say. And then, so she's hiring out of vocational schools and stuff like that. So that would be why I would push back, just because that's so fresh.
So when people talk about a labor shortage, what they're saying is there's not enough people to fill the open positions, right? That's exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
However, I'll bet if you went back and you said, well, how many people have you hired to fill those positions that didn't stick around? You're going to find that she's probably hired a bunch. They didn't work out. They didn't show up, everything else. If you were to ask her, how many W-2s did you issue last year? And how many people did you have working for you on January 1st? I can promise you she issued more W-2s. That's not a labor shortage. We have a retention problem, either because we're making poor hiring decisions or because people don't know how to stay. And one of the things I've seen happen with the private contractors, probably people like her, is they do hire from the schools, but they don't have a solid system in place to not only train them, but to keep them. There's this thought that, someone else will train them. And once they're trained somewhere else, then I'll hire them. And we can't do that anymore. The unions don't have the bandwidth or the finance, which is usually where that training came from. Companies are moving so fast and they're so focused on what they're leaving on the table. They're not thinking long-term, so they're not building apprenticeship programs. Like, if we want to solve the labor crisis, we have to start thinking, I have to be a part of the solution.
Yeah, I love that.
It can't just be hire from the schools and poach from someone else. Like, let's solve the problem.
100%. So what are some things that, contractors can do, to solve this?
Well, let's start first with, we have a retention problem in the trades. I think everybody can agree it's hard to keep people. There's always someone willing to pay $1 more an hour or $2 more an hour to poach one of my guys. And here's the reality. People don't leave for money. People leave people. They don't leave jobs. So if we want people to stay with us, we have to become an employer where people want to stay. We have to become that kind of employer. And when we become the employer where people don't want to leave, we'll also become the type of employer that people want to show up for. So all of a sudden we become very attractive to other people in the marketplace. And there's a huge gap in what people are doing right now. For every one that's thinking, how do I become the employer of choice, which is what we talk about. How do I become the employer people choose to work for? There's 100 guys that aren't even thinking about that. So for the few people that are actually thinking, I want to be that place that people choose to work and people choose to stay, they're going to solve a lot of their labor problems.
Yeah, I think we're 100% aligned there. At ShareWillow, a lot of our customers are thinking about, how do I serve my employees? How do I align incentives? And I totally get it. It's not just about just the money, but I think even the gesture, even the goodwill you get when you have some of the correct training programs and incentive programs, and you're showing that you're investing into your employees, I think all of that makes you the employer of choice, right? You sort of get.
Well, what I love about what you do is you let people choose to be rewarded for the effort they put in. Right? So now if I want to work hard, I can make more money. Well, that's not usually an option. If I'm a hard worker and I know it, I'm going to go find someone that's going to reward me for that. But you're giving people the opportunity. And if I'm not a hard worker and I don't want to earn the extra incentive, I don't have to. Right?
Yeah.
So you're fixing that problem. You're giving control. You're empowering the employee to say they have a little bit of control over their income, over the type of job that they have, over how hard they work. And I think it's empowering them is what's causing them to be more engaged. It's not necessarily the money as much as it is, I feel like I have control now.
100%. I was telling someone the other day, and I was like, look, a lot of these guys, they just need to be put into a structure that allows them to excel, allows them to thrive. Otherwise, like they're just kind of like they're being held back. Like they almost just want, hey, give me the ability to compete, and not in a zero-sum way, I win, you lose. Like it's like we can all win, but these guys want that structure, that competition, that upside as well. And it's like if you don't get the upside, like if you're just an hourly employee, we talk about this a lot. It's like it's really hard to say, hey, I really want to do great so that maybe I'll get $1 raise at the end of the year. You know what I mean? So I think we're aligned there. Taking a step back, how did you get into this? I would imagine you didn't just start randomly, consulting, and
Woke
helping.
up one day.
Yeah. So
No.
How did we get here?
Yeah, I grew up in the trades. My dad, blue collar owner operator, and I watched him grind it out 6-7 days a week, 12, 14-hour days, like the drill, right? And so when he started his own company, he had this belief that I'll make more money, I'll have more time, I'll have more freedom. And then he became a slave to the business that was supposed to change everything for him. And so as I grew up and I watched that with my dad, I was like, there's no way in hell I'm going into the family business because I don't want that.
Yeah.
So I went to the college route and I went corporate and I thought that was better for me. And there was just always something pulling me back to entrepreneurship. So I started a marketing company in 2011, focused on service contractors, people like my dad that were in the blue collar business, and said, you know what, if we can help them with returning their customers, getting repeat customers, retaining customers, we can solve a lot of the cash problems that my dad had. And with cash, we can solve other problems. That was my thought. And so I did that for a couple of years, and I worked with these contractors to help them bring in new business, but hold on to it and retain it. And then probably around 2015.
Hold on real quick. Was it more of like a lead gen agency? Like were you kind of driving them
Traditional
leads?
marketing. So yeah, Google ads, website, email, all of that stuff. All traditional marketing agency.
Yep.
And we had a bunch of companies call us and say, hey, I don't need leads anymore. I'm good. And I was like, I solved a problem. No, it turned out that they didn't have enough techs.
Wait, that is my story that I tell people. I'm like, they found out leads weren't the problem. It was people to service the lead. You're literally telling my story. Keep going. I'm not going to interrupt.
So,
that's yes.
I had an HVAC contractor in Phoenix in July. Said, we're booking 3 weeks out. You can imagine how many of those they converted. And so I remember sitting down with...
Yeah, that's Lacey. She's like, I am booking 3 weeks out. So then they go to the competitors now. So keep going. Yep.
So I sat down with the family and I said, what if I could solve that problem? They're like, you're a marketing guy. You can't solve that problem. Well, I knew something they didn't, which is marketing is a recruiting activity. And recruiting is marketing. Like it's all the same. Like we're either recruiting customers or we're recruiting candidates. Like marketing and recruiting are like this.
Yeah, yeah.
And people never think about it like that. And I said, hey, if I can recruit customers for you, I can recruit candidates for you.
Well, I'll tell you, anyone who's worked with a recruiter knows that recruiter is just outbound. There's marketing. So, yeah. I know.
We're not recruiters. We actually build the process, train people how to do this, everything else. But so they're like, you can fix this? I said, sure. So I went out, I learned about applicant tracking systems. I learned how to write job ads. And 3 weeks later, they called me and they said, turn leads back on. We filled all our empty trucks.
Damn.
We got new guys waiting to come. And I was like, that is cool. So fast forward a couple years, and I was like, I love this. This is so much more fun than lead gen and Google ads and all that other stuff. But what we found out was just giving them candidates wasn't enough. Now we had to teach them how to interview. Now we had to teach them how to onboard. Now we had to teach them how to engage and performance manage and have tough conversations and understand behavior and all of these other things. So, fast forward another few years, and I developed the CoreFit hiring system where we teach all of that to these companies. And that's how we got where we're at today.
That's incredible. Just a couple questions because I didn't want to interrupt as you're going. So where'd you grow up?
Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, you grew up in Phoenix. Cool. And and where'd you go to college?
ASU.
ASU. Nice. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
So I was probably playing in the lead gen marketing game, and in 2011 I was at Yext when Yext was a pay-per-call company. Back in the Service Magic days. And then I had a company that ended up getting acquired by HomeAdvisor. It was called M Help Desk. And then I had a call tracking company that I started that got acquired by CallRail. So I feel like we probably have been playing in similar spaces for a while, probably the last 15 years.
Yeah.
So
I remember a couple of those that you mentioned. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, that was my thing. When I was at PhoneWagon, we were working with marketing agencies and we were helping them track their inbound calls that they were driving to HVAC companies. One of the biggest biggest realizations was, hey, it's actually not the leads that's the problem. It's I don't have the techs to be able to service the leads, so I can't book the leads, so then the leads are bad. It's the leads aren't bad. It's you just don't have availability, which is exactly your story.
You know what's so interesting to me, though, about those people that say that? I can't tell you how many contractors I've talked to that said, oh, it's costing me $2 million a year. And I tell them, I go, with a little bit of hard work, some process, and our tools, we can solve that problem within 12 months. And they tell me it's too much work or too expensive.
Yeah, that's
They're
crazy.
I'm like, you don't understand. Even if you invest $100,000 a year in this, it's a 20-to-1 return. Where else do you get that kind of ROI? But I think it's easier for a lot of them to just complain than it is to do anything about it.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting, I'm curious if you're finding this. I feel like the good contracting businesses are starting, the gap is starting to get way wider. I feel like the good ones are, they're starting to hit the $5, $8, $10 million marks. They're seeing private equity. Maybe they purchase their own company. They get the game, the SBA loans. They get it. Maybe they buy it up, and then the other guys kind of stay stuck at that $1 to $2 million level. So I feel like the gap is starting to really widen. Potentially from people that don't want to invest into the training programs and getting the right people on board. It's interesting, but some of them are so curious. So what, the main customers that come to you, what industries are they in? Where are they at, size wise? And, post implementing, your guys' program, what kind of results do they see after 12 months?
Yeah. So we really break it down into two groups. We've got construction contractors, and then we've got service contractors.
Yep.
On the construction side, there usually be 50 to maybe 500 employees, a lot of frontline talent, and they're just struggling to build crews and get the jobs done. On the service side, they're probably 20 to 50 employees. They've probably got 10, 12 trucks on the road. They're growing from there. And I tell people, if you aren't hiring 5 techs or 5 people a year to grow the business, our system's probably overkill for you. So you've definitely got to be in that, I'm hungry for service titan, it's working for me, that size and that growth mindset. The two biggest things that we move the lever on is, number one, how many open positions they have, that we fill their positions. And number two is how long employees are staying with them. Because it's the retention that's really costing the money. They invest in a guy and they train a guy for 2 years and then he leaves. they think, oh, I just got to hire someone new. I'm like, no, you invested $100,000 in training and everything else in this guy. And now he's gone. And he has all this tribal knowledge, knows all this new stuff that you taught him, and now he's gone. And they don't think about that. But yeah, that's the two big that we look at is, how many open positions they have that we're filling quickly, and then how long are people staying?
And when you see most of these guys hiring, like, from my understanding, the roles are kind of clustered into, you have your installers, you have your maintenance techs that are kind of going out and doing cleaning the coils, doing like maintenance stuff. Then you have your service technicians, and then there's different levels of those. And then like maybe an entry level, which is like a helper or something that then can move up over time. Where do you see them want to hire into? Do they want to go to the bottom and then to like groom them to sort of come up, or like where are you?
Never.
No, okay.
Never. Now, we work with them on that mindset and thinking that way, and how do you develop that process? Mm-hmm. They all want to hire the tech that's got 5 years experience, that knows how to sell, that can hit the big tickets. That's what everybody wants.
Yep.
The reality is, as you already mentioned, those guys aren't looking for jobs. They're working for someone else. Mm-hmm. Who is looking for a job is that maintenance tech when it's not busy season. Mm-hmm. That's who's looking for a job. And if we can take that maintenance tech, we have one client, commercial refrigeration. They love the guy that knows a little bit. It's kind of that he's been a helper or he's been a maintenance tech. He's done some of that. They love taking that guy and say, I'm going to turn you into a service tech in a year.
That's awesome.
They love that.
And I think a lot of those guys are hungry to become service techs. I would also imagine the service tech is a little bit more mentally stimulating. Just because like you have to go, you have to diagnose it, you have to figure out what's wrong with it, versus the maintenance stuff, which I would imagine is pretty like, all right, you're just going to do the same kind of thing, right?
Although the one thing we run into with the service techs is you got to deal with the customer. The maintenance guys don't, right? They just got to say, hey, we took care of that, you're good. Whereas the service tech's got to sell the customer, got to convince the customer to buy, got to do all that other stuff. So it's there's a little bit more hand holding and a little bit more people side of the business that not all service techs like.
And sorry to jump around. I'm just so curious because I am like so deep in all of this stuff. Do you provide them, like, for instance, I asked an HVAC company recently, I was like, send me your proposal of like what you send to the customer, right? And a lot of them will give the customer for a replacement, right? An air conditioning or a heating unit replacement. Usually they'll give them a good, better, best. And I was like, let me just see it. And I saw it and I was like, oh Lord, this is not pretty. And maybe it doesn't need to be pretty, but I was like, do you give them, hey, here's some templates that you can use to create your proposals. Here's the collateral stuff. Here's maybe some language. Like
we stay out of the sales side of the business. So for us, the number one thing that people they never do this. Mm-hmm. When you onboard, there's two things that you need to do. Number one is you need to make sure that the guy knows how to do it the way you want it done.
Yep.
But the second thing you've got to do, and this is where the most time miss, is you've got to help that guy feel like he belongs here. You've got to integrate him into your culture. You got to teach him how you communicate. He's part of the family now. I mean, how does the family fight and argue and where do they keep things? Like, we don't talk about that at all. They show up, we toss them the keys, we send them on the route, and we say, good luck.
Yeah.
But if we knew how to help them feel like they belong, we'll engage them, we'll keep them. It'll solve a lot of our problems, but we skip the culture because we've got $2 million in backlog that we can't get to. And we're like, I just got to get him out there on the route as fast as possible. And then in 6 weeks, when he doesn't feel like he's connected with anybody because he's a lone ranger behind a windshield 12 hours a day, and he's like, I don't care about these people, he's going to leave for $1 more an hour.
Yep.
But if you can make it feel like he's a part of the culture, part of the team, he creates friendships. Now that $1 or $2 isn't going to help.
Yeah, no, that's so interesting. The thing that we're doing at Share Willow also to address that, because we hear that all the time. Like, people almost like get their identity tied to this effective hourly rate. And one of the things, we're trying to show them at Share Willow is like, hey, if you're getting, 24 an hour base, but you're getting these bonuses because you have an awesome incentive plan, your effective hourly rate is now 35. Don't leave for 28 because you think you're 25 and you're actually, you're actually 35. And it's so crazy how the like hourly rate tied to like the person, it's just wild. I mean, I guess I get it, but we see that and hear that all the time. We talk to all these owners and they're like, all of our guys are like so tied to the hourly rate.
Yeah, they do. And they compare it.
Yeah.
But I love what you're doing because now when the guy quits, it's easy to say, I know you think you're making 27, but let me show you where your effective was over the last 90 days. Are you sure you want to take a pay cut?
Yeah, it's like you're
No,
actually
sure
getting a
about
pay
that?
cut. Yeah. Totally. What so like when you're creating the job listings, you're using an applicant tracking system, an ATS. Where do you find the best results? I don't know if this is part of the secret sauce, but like what websites are you finding these guys on? Or are they finding you on when you're doing these listings?
I mean, I have lots of secrets, but I'm fine with sharing all of them. So I will tell you this. When it comes to the job boards, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Monster, well, they're bankrupt now. Like, you go through a bunch of these job boards. Only 3 to 5% of the people, the population, the job market are on these job boards. Only 3 to 5%. It means 95% are not on job boards. So that's not a good place to go. What's the unemployment rate? 4%? Kind of correlates with that 3 to 5, doesn't it? So most of the people that are on there are unemployed. And if you're unemployed in this economy, there's probably something wrong with you.
Yeah.
You're probably not the kind of person I want.
You know, it's funny that you say that. I always say, I don't want, at Share Willow, I'm like, I don't want someone that like wants the job too. Like I want to have to go and get the person and convince them to leave and come to me because they're such a valuable asset to some other employer. And they're such a rock. They're not just sitting on the sidelines. Like who's sitting on the sidelines?
Yeah.
So I totally get it.
Gallup talks about the engaged workforce, and it's crazy. 71% of employees are not engaged in the United States. 71% are not engaged. So if you think about that for a second, 7 out of 10 of your employees are not engaged.
Yeah.
Which means they're the kind of people that Ryan or people like Ryan are going to go convince to work somewhere else because they're not engaged.
Yeah.
And so if you could just focus on that engagement, but here's what they found at Gallup. The number one factor that determines if an employee is engaged or not, and they're 6 times more likely to be engaged, is if they have a best friend at work.
Whoa, I like that a lot. Clip that. That's awesome. Yeah.
I mean, think about that for a second. Somebody says, hey, $2 more an hour, I want you to abandon your best friend. Like, that's what they're saying. It doesn't work.
No, that makes so much sense because when you leave, and sorry, I'm just thinking out loud. Like when you leave a job, if you have such a relationship, it's almost like you're breaking up with all of those people. Like I remember when I was in high school and I almost was forced to change schools. It was like terrible. And I was like, I'm not doing that. You know, I'm not going to leave all my friends and my sports teams partners and the relationships. That's so interesting. So how do you create a best friend at work? Or like how does that happen?
Well, the easiest way to do it is mentorship program. New guy comes in, day one, instead of saying, here's your truck and here's where you grab your supplies and here's where you do this, you bring him in and say, hey, I want you to meet John. John's your mentor. He's going to show you how to fit in here. He's going to tell you how we do things around here. If you have questions, you go to John. In fact, John's got the company credit card. He's taking you to lunch today. John's going to be your mentor. For the first 90 days, John will be your mentor.
I've completely
now all of a
switched
sudden you get to create a relationship with him.
I'm looking at this now through the lens of Share Willow. Because now I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, Jack, our head of sales, I'm like, he's got Mike, our AE, he should be, and I'm like, let me formalize that mentorship. They were actually going to go golfing last Friday. We got Danielle, she has Mackenzie, now she has Alexis, but then she also has Kate, Navraj, our engineer. Like, I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, I need to be a mentor more for Jack and Danielle. I've completely like switched, and I'm just thinking about this
about that. It's
selfishly
easy.
now. Yeah,
it's easy. And then think about this too. So that mentor, he's the guy that everybody wants. He's the guy that's seasoned. Well, now he's going to have to abandon the couple of new people that he's mentoring if he takes another job. He's not going to want to do that.
Yeah.
If they create connections, but we never give them a chance to create connection. Get in the truck. Here's your route. We'll see you in 12 hours.
So it's almost like creating deeper relationships where you have emotional connection or just a connection to the person where it's like, it's not so commoditized where it's like, it doesn't matter. They're just a coworker. They're like now it's like a human connection that you've fostered, that you've created. And then they'd have to like completely throw that relationship away if they're going to walk, which makes it more difficult.
I mean, imagine the first week, you get a brand new service technician. He's got 5 years experience. He's ready to go make some money. What if you paid him what he would make if he had his own route that first week and said, all I want you to do is just ride around with John for the week. He's going to be your mentor. He's going to coach you. You guys are going to hang out. He's got the company credit card. He's going to take you to lunch every single day. Like he's going to take you to Starbucks in the afternoon for the pick-me-up. Like he's going to hang out with you and show you what it's like to work here, teach you the ins and outs.
Yeah.
And then at the end of that week, now you give him his truck. Instead of giving him his truck day one, you give it to him after a week. Guess what? He's going to be like, can I go hang out with John some more? like free lunches, restart. He's going to remember that.
Yeah.
And not just think, oh, I'm another tech and they're just treating me like the last company I left.
Interesting. Okay. Going back to the question though. So they're not on the job boards. How do you get to them?
Yep. Number one way, you're gonna hear this and you're gonna go, well, duh, I know that, but how do you make it work? We'll get into that. Employee referrals. Employee referrals are the number one way to find the people who are gainfully employed somewhere else.
Hey, do you have a buddy that might be employed somewhere else that we could just maybe have a conversation with?
Yeah. Or who do you know? Yeah. Hey, we're hiring. You know how many times I've gone into a company and I said, hey, does everybody on the team know that you're hiring? And the team has said, no, I thought they just didn't care they were paying all this overtime. I had no idea they wanted to solve this problem. I had no idea we were hiring. And the guy's working like 25 hours a week overtime because they're short-staffed. And he's just thinking, my boss doesn't care about me. They're not doing anything to solve this problem. I had no idea we're hiring. Like we think as leaders sometimes that our people read our minds and they get the memo. We never do it. So just start by telling people that you're hiring. Make very clear what you're hiring. And then, just like we do with everybody else, I mean, what do you ask them to do? What's recruiting? It's marketing, right? You ask them to go out and market to their friends and family. And what do? Tell them that I'll pay you $500 if you come work here.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We give them no collateral. We give them no scripts. We give them nothing. Imagine going to a marketing department and say, I'm not giving you anything. Go get me leads. They'd be like, I can't help you. But we do this all the time with our employees. Say, help us find people. Here's our employee referral program. I'll give you $500 if you can convince one of your guys to, number one, quit his job. Number two, tell his wife he's quitting his job. And number three, come work to a place that he knows nothing about.
Yep.
I mean, that's what we're asking him to do. And in exchange, we'll give him $500. And everybody's like, employee referral programs don't work. Well, no kidding. Who's taking all the risk? It's not you. It's not your employee. It's the guy that's got to go tell his wife and his friends that he's quitting and coming to work somewhere else. Yet we never incentivize him to come over. Yeah, we give him signing bonuses, which is the worst thing you can do. But we never reduce the risk for them to come over here. So employer referral programs are incredibly effective when they're done right.
So some of the biggest misses there are lack of documentation, scripts, lack of just structure around it. So and then it seems like the biggest one is just communicating, obviously, that you are recruiting for these roles. It's interesting when you talk about the spouses. So I met a friend now who's a founder of a recruiting firm, and he was saying like the spouse is a decision maker in the process. He's like, you have to understand that, and you have to learn that is someone who you're also selling to, like selling as far as like getting the recruit to agree.
Yeah.
And yeah, you got to prepare for that because that is definitely part of the recruiting process.
Yeah. No, we spend a lot of time teaching our technicians how to sell. We do scripts, we do role playing, we do all this other stuff. And then we take a technician who has no idea how to recruit, and we say, go recruit for us. We do no training. We don't equip them. Like, that's where we got to start thinking about this.
You know what's also crazy just to think about is how important recruiting is, but then how much you don't invest in it. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like you're investing all of the, like, again, a lot of this is just coming to me because I never have like discussed it in this detail, but it is so important, especially as I'm talking to these companies and, the millions of dollars annually on the table based on their current lead volume, not doing anything different, just current lead volume. Millions of dollars are on the table because of lack of people. And then they still aren't investing, the resources, the time, the effort into doing it. That's crazy.
And it's not recruiters. It's not spending money on Indeed. It's not signing bonuses. It's become the employer that everybody wants to work for in your area and that no one wants to leave.
Yeah.
And you will solve this problem. And the number one thing, I mean, we know this. People don't leave jobs, they leave
people.
Do we believe this? If we do, then why am I posting on Indeed a job? Why don't I post on the job board, this is what it's like to work here. This is our people. This is how we communicate, how we lead, how we invest in people. Forget what they're going to do. A service tech knows what a service tech does. Let's sell the people. Let's sell the company culture. But we don't think that way.
You know what's interesting? Sorry, keep going.
No, go ahead.
So I post a lot on social media, like behind the scenes stuff at Share Willow and almost like day in the life and vlogs. And I've always said doing that is more focused on recruiting than it is for like top of funnel new customer acquisition. I was like, people get a glimpse inside. They get a glimpse of my personality, you know?
Yeah.
And I think, and especially on, you know, the social media platforms that people are on, you know, the TikTok, like where they're actually consuming, the Instagram, the reels, the stories, like that's where they are. And that's where, you know, you can kind of show them. It's interesting to think of it like that. The thing that I was also thinking, there's a few companies that I look at and I'm like, they're just doing it right. Like there's this guy, Chuck Kuhn from JK Moving and Storage out of Washington, DC. And man, they do like $200 million in top line revenue. They're like a $1 billion moving company. And he posts jobs on his LinkedIn for just like entry-level roles that they're hiring for. And he's in the fields with the people. And like you saying, become the employer of choice. Like you could just so tell when these companies are doing it right. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Who do you look up to that you think is doing it right? And it doesn't have to be in the trades. Like I like Jesse Cole right now from Savannah Bananas. I think he's such a leader and fans first and everything he does. He's out there on the front lines with his people. But who do you look up to as a business leader that you think is just like, they're just nailing it. They're doing it right.
Yeah, gosh, put me on the spot. I don't have any of my names with me right now. There's a plumbing company out in California, the largest privately held plumbing company. And I can't remember the name of the company right now. But the owner, the founder's not even in day-to-day. He's off doing speaking circuits and doing everything else. He has built a leadership team. He's empowered them. And he said, let's pour into our people. Let's give the stuff away. Let's make sure that our people lead better lives because of us, not just have better jobs. And they've built apprenticeship programs. He's been on my podcast. I feel so bad not being able to remember
Wait, I
his
think
name
I know
right
what you're
now.
talking about. Do they do like fact shop tours and stuff? I feel
Yeah, they do shop tour. They do. I mean, they got it all figured out. You know, and not that I agree with everything he does, but Tommy Mello's got his stuff together, right? Like, but it's really hard to relate to someone who's sold their company to PE and is worth $500 million and all this other stuff. It's really hard to relate to a guy like that when he says, oh, just buy the guy a new truck. If you guys having a tough time getting to work, just buy the guy a new truck. It's hard to relate to that. But I think that Tommy's philosophy of, and you've got to be there for our guys. You've got to show them a path to $1 million sales pipeline. You've got to do these things to invest in them. I mean, that's doing it right. Now, do they have a healthy company culture? I don't know. I think they're more driven by people that are driven by money there, which typically doesn't work in the construction work that we do because it's not like a foreman can go out and make more money or anything like that. Like the job is what the job is. But I think he's doing it well. Some of the people that I look up to in this space, though, like Patrick Lencioni and Simon Sinek, like the things that they talk about, putting other people's needs in front of yours.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe that if you want the most loyal workforce, help them achieve their personal goals. Forget their business goals and career goals. What do they want?
Yeah.
We had a client foundation company out of Texas, and they had actually set up a home purchase program for their employees. And a lot of these were entry level, $18 an hour type jobs. And all of these people, they wanted to buy a house someday. So they actually had a grant program that they would give you $3,000 towards your down payment after you'd been there for a couple of years. They partnered with a real estate agent, a mortgage broker, a credit repair company, a finance advisor, and they'd come in and do lunch and learns. And they'd walk alongside their guys, these employees, for years. to help them get ready to buy a home. I mean, talk about creating loyalty.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Just to comment on the Tommy Mello stuff. I love what he's doing. And sure, he might be, they always say, don't compare someone's, chapter 10 to your chapter 1. I think he's there, but you can consume his content, and he's going to give you everything, right? He's going to give you this, and you might only relate to this piece over here. And I think one thing with him especially is like, he knows his numbers, right? So it's like, regardless of where you're at, you can know your numbers, right? He's in the trenches with his people. He takes his team on trips, and sure, he might go to Cabo now. You could go to the local minor league baseball, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's like, you can still distill, and he's just in the mud with his guys.
And one of the things that I think he's got so right, especially with Al Levy and partnering with him and everything else that they've done over there, is that if you want to hire, I mean, he tells you, I'm going to give you the secret to hiring the best technician. I'm going to give you the secret to hiring $1 million producer. And every time he says, hire someone based on their behaviors and their traits and the way they think and have the right mindset and teach them how to do the work.
Yep.
And that's what's missing in the trades right now, is we let go of that. And so we got a whole bunch of people complaining, oh, nobody wants to work and nobody knows how to do the work and I can't find any seasoned guys. You got to start owning that. Own the fact that you need to hire based on behavior and mindset, and you teach them how to do the work. Even if it takes 5 years, teach them how to do the work and build a program around that. There's a guy, High Five Plumbing. They do this. He says, I don't ever have to worry about recruiting again. He goes, I have a steady pipeline of apprentice. Every year I turn out 3 licensed plumbers. He goes, and it just works.
Yeah,
it just works because he's built that system of bringing in someone with no experience, training them up, and then every year he's got 3 new licensed plumbers. And that's the pace at which he wants to grow.
Yep. So I was talking with an HVAC owner, very, very similar. I think they call them helpers, apprentice, whatever, that entry-level position where you don't have to have any license. But they'll start there, they'll work with an installer truck, then they can move, then boom, then they can get to service technician within 12 to 18 months. And look, it's a funnel. You got to look at it like a funnel. And I think if you can nail the persona of the person, from what I've heard, if they played sports, they're competitive, right? There's like certain attributes that you might want with these kinds of people that you think are going to be great at this. I actually don't want to like say the attributes because I'm not sure and I don't want to say it incorrectly. But like there's certain things, like maybe they did certain things that you're like, all right, that's the kind of person that I want, right? Like, again, maybe like someone's a dog in the gym. Because a lot of times, like, work ethic doesn't stay in a silo. If someone's a dog and they're like disciplined over here, they're probably going to be a dog over here. And I say dog, just, you know what I mean? Like, they're going to show up on time. Like it's going to translate into most aspects of their life.
What I like to say is the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
Exactly.
Exactly what you're saying.
Exactly. So like, again, if you're like, hey, and then maybe there's a certain like cohort of people that are great. I'm just trying to even think. I don't know, but maybe your pipeline is like personal trainers. Like if you're a personal trainer, one, you're disciplined. I'm literally just spitballing. Like I have no idea if this is even right, but like you probably get up early. You have your own business, but it's like hard. You have recurring clients. You can only do maybe one at a time. So maybe it's like, look, you're probably making like $60K here, $50K. It's a pain in the ass. You just want to be a personal trainer, but now you have a business and you're getting new customers. Why don't you come over here? I'll teach you the ropes. You could be $1 million producer. You can make, 6 figures within 12, 18 months. I don't know if that's right, but like, some streamlined pipeline of people. Anyway.
You are right on. I mean, we have a process we call the Core Fit profile. And people are like, why do I got to do this profile? I just need to get an ad posted, because the profile creates the persona that we're looking for. Helps you understand how they behave, what motivates them, what disqualifies them. It's so interesting. People don't think about this, but we all have our biases. We all know what disqualifies someone, but we don't want to write it down because we don't want to get in trouble for it. It's like, no, if you're going to disqualify someone because they keep picking up their phone during the interview, write it down. Like, let's put it down. What activities they got to do, what skills they've got to have, what physical, mental aptitude. There's so much stuff that goes into it that we don't even think about. We post a job, an application comes in. If the candidate shows up on time for the interview, we hire them.
Yep.
There's so much more into quality. Another thing we do is we do this thing called an integrity assessment. I don't know if you ever heard of this.
But
It's a behavioral assessment. Looks at will they lie, will they steal, do drugs and alcohol on the job, or cause workplace violence. It's got a 94% accuracy rate.
That's incredible. Yeah, I'm just thinking back to Share Willow and just even my personal hiring practices. I feel like there's starting to be, I've been at this for a while now, and it's like you can almost like trust yourself. You're like, all right, I know if the person does X, Y, Z, like they're just not going to be a good fit based on history. And it's like, sure.
Yeah.
And if I'm already chirping at them early days, it's like I don't want to have to chirp at them, and it's like that's not the kind of person that I want. I recently had to deal with this with someone, and I was just like, look, there's too many little things up front where it's just not going to be a good fit. I know it's not going to be a good fit, and in the past I had been like, all right, it's not a good fit, but I'll change them, I'll fix them, I'll keep giving them feedback, and it's just like
It doesn't work.
It just doesn't work. It's like it's just not worth it. So I love that. What's in this integrity? Is it a questionnaire or like?
Yeah,
is
I think it's like 70 questions. They take it on their phone.
70.
Takes like 10 minutes. It's short.
All right,
It's
that's
short.
a lot.
It's literally like, would you do this or this, this or this, this or this? And you're like, click, 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 click. Takes 10 minutes. It's 94% accurate, and it comes back and it says something like, this person thinks it's okay to lie to you about an injury, or they think it's okay to steal up to $500 from the business, or they think it's okay to go out and have a few drinks at lunch and come back and operate heavy equipment. Like, it's crazy.
But is there ever any like questions? It's like, okay, like if your coworker was about to die, would you steal to save their life? And then you're like conflicted. It's like, well, I would steal, but I'm saving a life.
No. This stuff's based on. There's a principle in psychology. Cognitive dissonance is what it's called, and it's the idea that the people that I spend the most amount of my time with, what we do together as a group is what I think is okay. So if I get together after work and I light up a joint with my friends and my family every single night, I actually think it's weird people that don't do that. So when someone asks me, do you think it's okay to light up a joint at the end of every day? Of course I'm going to say yes. If it's legal in the state and I'm going to smoke before I start operating the company vehicle, I'm going to be like, yeah, whatever. It's not a big deal. Like, it's legal. They're not going to think anything of it. Same with work comp injuries. Like, people that think it's okay to steal from an employer or steal from an insurance agency, they're like, yeah, I hurt my back playing, football with my kid on Sunday, but I came to work, faked it, and then first job, oh, I hurt my back. And now you got a false work comp claim. People think that's okay because it doesn't hurt the company. It's just an insurance company. Like, it doesn't hurt anybody but the insurance company. Like, people that think that way think this stuff is okay. And they'll actually admit it on the test, on the assessment.
You got to send me that. It's funny.
The ATS that we use actually has it built in. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's funny. I was initially, and it still is obviously for our customers and stuff, but I'm now just, my mindset is completely like shifted to this for Share Willow and our employees, and how can, I use this assessment, and how can I create a mentorship program? Because even every company, this is a challenge for, right? And people, it's like,
we'll talk offline, Ryan. I'll give you some of the trade secrets.
All right. Amazing. So, like, where's your business today? Tell me about size, scale, what does an engagement with you look like? Give me the spiel.
Yeah. So, like I told you about company size, companies that are going to be a good fit for us. Typically, they're going to be owner operated, but they're going to have someone boots on the ground that can do a lot of the work. The last thing I want an owner doing is phone screening candidates. So they're going to be about that size. When clients work with us, it's for 2 to 3 years. It's usually how long it takes to get through everything. The fastest companies could do it is probably 2 years if they just put their head down and got it done, because there's so many moving parts to what we do. We don't lock them in. It's month to month after the first 90 days. So they get to meet regularly with me to do the strategic consulting stuff. They meet regularly with my team so that they can work on the tactical things, writing the ads, posting the stuff, implementing processes, designing processes, leadership training. And then We've created accountability peer groups. In fact, I get ready to run to one here right after this, where we bring a bunch of companies together and we all get together on a Zoom call and we all support each other, like, build a little bit of community. And,
Maybe
for companies,
maybe we do a little share Willow sponsorship in there.
we could definitely talk. We are always looking for good partners that can do and help companies with things like phantom equity, phantom stock, things like incentive compensation, other types of creative benefits, right? Like I don't need a health insurance, a health broker. Like I don't need that. And then a typical engagement is going to be anywhere between $3,000 to $10,000 a month, depending on what it is that they need from us.
Okay. And do they have to be recruiting a certain amount of employees? Like, if someone's only has like 2 roles to fill, is that a good fit? You know what I mean? Like, what is the?
Most of our focus is going to be on the frontline employees, so your hourly employees, the ones that are in the field. If someone just needs to hire, let's say, an estimator or a service manager, I'm probably not the best fit for you on that because it's not what we do. We focus more on those frontline hourly roles. But if someone needs to hire customer service reps, or they've got a couple of CSRs that they need to replace, or even a couple of trucks that they need to fill, like those are great fits for us. But I usually say that on the recruiting side, you're probably going to want to be hiring 3 to 5 people a year for it to make sense.
That's not that. Okay, that's not that much.
To put the stuff in place.
Yeah,
but remember, we're building the processes and the systems inside their business, and we're teaching them how to run them. So we're teaching them to fish, we're equipping them, we're giving them the tools, we're doing all the stuff that we want them to start doing. So it's not like you work with us and as soon as you stop working with us, it stops working. Like you've got the things in place. We do a lot of leadership and communication training with the service managers, even the owners. We work on them building an effective leadership team. My goal is to get most of the owners some margin or to create some space so that they can focus on owner things and not be dragged into the field all the time or dealing with the fires that are going on.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. And 3 to 5 seems reasonable. I love that. They can take the system, post sort of engagement with you and continue working the system to grow. Oh, the thing that I was going to say is private equity is crazy in the trades right now, right? Crazy active.
Yep.
Are you working with any PE groups? Because here's my thing. Let me just say it out loud. Post-transaction, it is critical for private equity groups to retain employees. If you buy an HVAC company that trades on a cash flow basis, the cash flow is based on a customer base, and the customers are tied to your employees. I'm going to follow my HVAC tech. I'm not going to follow the entity. I'm going to follow John, who I've worked with for 12 years. And if John leaves, I'm following John. I don't give a shit if John works at John's HVAC or Fiji HVAC. So it is critical for PE groups to retain employees post-transaction. Are you working with PE groups?
I am not, and I'm glad you get it because I've had that exact same thought. Like, I don't understand why they aren't talking to me about how we hold on to these people and integrate them into the larger culture. I've talked to a few PE guys, and they're just like, yeah, no, we do all that stuff internal. We do all that stuff. We don't need outside help.
So
if you know someone.
So I'm talking to everyone, and we're putting together our own fund, which should be done soon, and hopefully first transaction will happen soon. But I was talking to this guy Craig, a 40-person HVAC company in Rhode Island called Ocean State Air Solutions. The best human I've ever been or proud of. I got the goosebumps meeting with him. He's 60 years old. He cares so deeply about his employees. Anyway, he was telling me he doesn't want to sell to PE. He's like, I want to sell back to my employees eventually. And he's like, I want to be the old guy in the office that comes and just tells stories and whatever. He cares so deeply about his employees.
It's great.
It was like so nice, and I almost felt bad. I went in there like just trying to get content. I'm like filming a pod, and he's just so nice. He shows me around. Anyway, he was saying a PE group came in and bought another company in his town. Within 12 months, everyone left. Every single employee had left. And I was like, I'd be pissed if I was a PE group and everyone left. That wasn't in the model.
I'd be pissed if I was the owner.
Well,
Because
that's his thing. He goes, if that happened to me, he's like, I grew up here. He's like, my family's here. He's like, I would have to like leave town. He's like, because he's like, this is how I'm known this. My identity is tied to this. If I sold to a PE group, then they changed it. He's like, that just wouldn't feel right. He's like, I would literally have to move. I mean, he says that in our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think post-transaction, like if there's all this activity, all this money flowing in, all these roll-ups, all this, especially, I mean, look, if it's one thing, if one company buys another company, or if Tommy sells, minority stake and he's still running it, whatever. But if you're a PE group, you come in, you try to buy this company and everyone walks, like, come on.
I think the smartest PE groups would say, hey, you know what? We're going to do our due diligence. And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to bring somebody in to audit and figure out what we got to do to retain these people. So we have a plan post-transaction. Don't wait till after the transaction, everybody's talking about leaving. Come in beforehand and find out what would get people to stay.
Yeah. Well,
think about it a little more proactively.
First of all, it's definitely implementing employee incentives with ShareWillow tied to KPIs. That's for sure.
You've rehearsed that one a few times.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have that in place. So give your employees an upside. Tied to their actions. But yeah, so it's interesting. The PE coming into the trades is interesting. I love what you're doing. It's kind of tied in with what they're doing. I'm excited to come on your podcast.
Yes.
And look, I think even just as we've been talking, I visited another guy in another company in Rhode Island, this guy, Zachariah Rollins, he's the man. And his big thing is like, if he can just add another truck or two, he could double or triple his business, right? All these guys are thinking about this. And I think all of them, I do think, by the way, there's an order of operations. And I think by the time we're talking to them at ShareWillow, they've already got their field service software. They've already got a lot of the ducks in a row, whatever the saying is. And then, then they're getting the incentives in place. And now they're like, okay, now we're ready to add a truck, which is potentially where, you and your team comes in, right? As they've kind of got that core system and processes down. But we're definitely playing in the same space, and I think it's incredible. So
I think that's why Rick said you two need to meet. He was so passionate about it. And I think that, we are definitely playing the same place. We're solving similar problems using completely different vehicles to do it. Mm-hmm. And I love what you're doing. I mean, in the remodeling space, the service space, I mean, anytime that you've bid that job the way that you're like, hey, I know how many hours it's going to take. If you can help me with getting more incentive because the guys work faster and they do higher quality. I mean, anything we do to incentivize our people to make more money is going to help them stay. So I love it. I love what you guys are doing.
Absolutely. All right, Ryan, I think we're coming up on the end, but thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. Where can people find you?
Easiest place is corematters.com. That's my website. I'm all over LinkedIn. That's where we publish a lot of free content. So if anybody's listening to this and they want to know what we're up to or tools that we have or anything else, publish a lot of that on LinkedIn and on our website.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ryan England, Core Matters. Thank you for being here on the ShareWillow podcast.
Thanks, Ryan.